Hey everybody, Matt here from 2A Cops, Cops Supporting Gun Rights. Today I'm here to talk to you about Sig Sauer and the P320 again, because Sig brought it up again with a new bulletin blaming holsters again. But hey, before we get into that, if you like the content you're seeing here, please like, share, subscribe, throw a comment down in the comments. It helps the algorithm, helps our message get out to a lot more people out there, lets them know that not all the cops are out there trying to take your guns. Sig just can't seem to do the right thing. 2 days ago, they released a press release basically saying it's the holster's fault. So let me take a quick read here and I will show you this, put it up here on the screen so you can read along. Sig Sauer is reminding consumers about the risks associated with the use of light-bearing holsters, which have been involved in a number of alleged unintentional discharge incidents. Due to the large openings in these holster designs around the trigger, necessarily for accommodating the bezels of attached weapon lights, fingers or foreign objects may be able to enter these holsters and contact the trigger. This vulnerability may be exacerbated by the use of a light-bearing holster without a compatible weapon light attached. Placement of a firearm in the holster, blah, 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 blah. You can read it. I'll put a link to it in the description of the video so you can go look at the whole thing yourself. But let's just talk about this. This is the most recent thing that they've put out since the unintentional, negligent, accidental, whatever you want to refer to it, discharge from the Montville PD. So this is more SIG trying to dig themselves out of the hole. Light-bearing holsters and guns. Do a Google search. Go look for holstered Glock law enforcement unintentional discharge. I did it, and I'll tell you what you're going to find, a whole bunch of SIG P320 articles. If you Google law enforcement, Walther PDP, Walther PPQ, or just do Walther, unintentional discharge, negligent discharge, and I'll tell you what you're going to find, a whole bunch of SIG P320 articles. I did every search I could think of for the guns that are commonly carried by law enforcement. I take it back, I haven't done a Smith & Wesson M&P, but before I publish this video, I will. And if I'm incorrect, I'll come back and let you know. Every Google search I did resulted in SIG 320 articles. I'm not new to light-bearing holsters and carrying firearms. I was one of the first guys on my department in patrol to put a light on his handgun. I'm talking 2000, maybe 2005, somewhere in that ballpark. This is my old duty gun. It's a SIG P220, 45. This is the holster that I used at the time. This is the light that I was using at the time. It's a Streamlight M3, which was actually made by Insight. This one's marked as Insight. I had two of these. Here's the holster. Here's the gun. Carried it in that for a very long time. The gun never went off. Because even if I can get my finger in there on the trigger, which I can, it's very difficult to pull backward. Granted, that's a hammer-fired gun. However, the other half of my career, I carried a Glock on duty with a light. This is the Glock that I had done by laser blade engraving. This is my competition gun. It's clear. That is a Streamlight TLR1 HL, newer light, new gun. My duty gun was the same Glock 17 Gen 5, actually, and I had a Gen 4 for a long time too. And they all had lights on them. And they were all in a Safariland holster. This is a Safariland holster. This holster, I cannot get my finger into that holster and on the trigger. Maybe a tiny little kid finger could fit in there, even though there have been some incidents where guns have gone off in the holster because somebody, there was a Lodi police officer several years ago at a public function, and a little kid came up, managed to get her finger in there and cranked off a round. Thankfully, it didn't hit anybody, but the gun was holstered, and she got her finger in there and pulled the trigger. I think it was a she. Anyway, it was a small kid. But carried a Glock, long time. Didn't go off in the holster. Walther PDP. It's clear. Light. Another TLR1 HL. Holster. This holster's a Havoc holster. Holster that I use for USPSA shooting and other competition stuff that I do, 2-gun and 3-gun. And then I also have this, which I want to say, I can't remember the brand. I think it's like a US holster, US duty gear or something like that. Another holster for this PDP. You're not finding articles about PDPs going off. You're not hearing news stories about PDPs going off. You're not hearing news stories about Glocks going off while they've been holstered. SIG, you're just making yourself look dumb. You keep putting out these press releases that are digging the hole deeper. The last press release you had on this issue, you were claiming the gun wasn't holstered and that you could see his hood open. And the hood that was open wasn't a hood at all. It was his tourniquet in a tourniquet holder on the front of the holster. So SIG, please, just stop. You're just making yourself look silly. If there's a problem with the 320, it'll eventually get figured out. I have no doubt about that. But these press releases where you're trying to do the, oh, it's not us, it's just making you look silly. Please stop.